Akumo ha halima. Greetings, I am Halisarius, Pleiadian chief leader, Pleiadian chief commander, and I am a great member and a great leader of the Galactic Federation of a Light Society. Greetings, friends. We send peace and love to you. We send a light to you always. We send our greatest desires to you to begin to listen to the greatest messages coming from the star realms. We ask you to listen to the voice deep within you, which knows all these messages. Many of you are also evolved star beings, and you are here upon your earth to create change, to reach up higher. We gave you gifts from the stars to be able to do your tasks. We gave you higher powers to awaken to bring change to your plane. For all upon your plane is about deeper knowledge and deeper balance and deeper games. We are very, very grateful to the ones who are awakening, and I, Halisarius, am very grateful to the people who are listening to the Galactic Federation of Light Society at this time. For each person who listens, we celebrate. We record the names down of all those who are awakening. We celebrate your flames in the temples. We help you to grow with our beautiful transmissions and our thoughts. We want you to understand the greater game of the universe. We want you to understand the great battles that took place, not to bring fear into your consciousness, but to wake you up so that you can change all things, because the gifts are within you to create change. I, Halisarius, Pleiadian chief leader, Pleiadian chief commander, say to the people upon your earth, you are in the greatest game, the game of a light, the game of a dark, the game of bringing light to your plane, so that all darkness can be removed from your plane and from all the universes. Many of you are sleeping in little eggs, waiting for the knock, so that you crack open and begin to live. You sleep soundly upon your plane. You do not realize the clock is ticking. You do not realize the growth and the transformation that is needed to happen to grow up higher, ready for the great alignment upwards. You do not realize that you need to change your consciousness in order to bring all things into higher love consciousness. Many of you are listening to the messages, and I, as Halisarius, am very grateful that you are. I have much joy in my work. I, Halisarius, am very, very great, and I have many beings becoming more evolved, always striving for greater things and greater thoughts, building greater dimensions, higher technology. I, as Halisarius, want to bring all the gifts from the universe to you when you are ready. We already did this in ancient times, and you destroyed so much with it. You created a path of pain with much of our technology. And because you are a universe of balance upon your plane, you can correct it all by coming into the love and getting to know the love within you, and accepting that we, as Pleiadians, and there are many star realms, also want to join you to create greater balance upon your Earth. We have the technology to help you with all things. We keep sharing that with you, but how many people are actually listening? How many people are actually understanding that we are truly here? You are in a dimension of great growth, and you must learn to open to that. You must learn to understand that all choices are in your hands. You must learn to understand that your Earth is part of the greatest game and all the universal existence, and that we as star beings are watching you to see what you'll do. On your plane, there have always been choices. This choice or that choice. Depending on the choices you made, depended upon the path that was created before you. Each choice created different doors. Each choice created different thoughts and surroundings. At times, you as a human race created choices that created severe pain upon your plane. And you carry that pain around, feeding it day in, day out, with your thought consciousness, instead of learning to forgive it. And those consciousness thoughts grow into greater thoughts. And you keep repeating those same thoughts every year. Look at what you do with your wars. Look at what you do with your thoughts of the deaths. You keep celebrating it, and thus the same consciousness keeps growing and growing, which creates growth within the dark beings. It always has. However, the light now is shining upon the earth greater, which is creating change upon all things in existence. Because your beautiful earth is connected to the greatest and darkest universe, and your earth is changing with thought, with light, with consciousness. And because the highest energies, the divine, has cleansed the earth so that the darkness can no longer fully hold focus upon your plane anymore, the growth of light could come, which means that a greater gateway was opened for you to bring a light to the darkest of universes, as all things are still connected. The darkness knows that their time is running out, so they're trying with all their might to keep you into their fear programs. When you believe in the fear, it becomes your reality. It becomes your program. We're asking you to let go of all that was upon your earth. For the divine has energetically cleansed it. But you keep being reminded of it by each other. We as the Galactic Federation of Light Society, we are very happy with what is going on upon the earth. There's already a high foundation of spiritual growth is taking place, which means that the darkness is struggling to stay alive, and it's already breaking down. Already the very foundations, the structures of your world are breaking down further energetically, as all things need to grow upwards into higher foundations. The growth is great, and the transformation of the human is great. For every human is growing upwards into greater growth, into greater transformation. And so we are encouraging you to keep growing, knowing that you do so much for your most beautiful planet, as all things are connected. A light grid programmer, Suzanna, who's also our star grid programmer, is being sent out to divine tasks with Kairon, to do large forgiveness work, to bring portals of love to those great areas of pain, and so that the higher dimensions can reach within the lower dimensions to create more light within the darkest of systems, which is speeding all things up, speeding up your transformation, speeding up the ability to see the greatness from the not so great. It is speeding up to see a light consciousness returning upon your plane. Light was always hidden by the darkness. The darkness did not want the light to show upon your plane anymore. It brought torture to your people. Torture, fire, pain, hoping that the people would never awaken to the treasures of light within them, because the people were always the key to bring peace and love upon the plane, which meant that they also could no longer hold on to their pain frequencies. The darkness has their own system of creating power. It is a vicious system, a system that is far removed from the love or the great light. It creates power within itself, eating within the fear, bringing greed into its plane, mainly from your plane, over the many thousands and thousands of years. It also has ways to bring power in from the grid system. But now all things are changing, because the human is the ultimate balance as to where everything will go. You have a sacred decision to make. We want the earth to be let go of all the darker grids and the dark programs. They still have a hold over you in many ways, but it's being let go. What can you do to totally let go? You can awaken, transform, and see and learn to fly collectively with love. For they cannot stand our love. They despise our love and hate our love. This is why they remove themselves from the love connections. Love force to us as star beings of love is power and evolution. For it is our sun, and our sun gives us greater knowledge. And they do not have their light sun, for they refused their light sun. So they needed to create their own sun. All suns create power. The sun was removed from the power, and thus created more pain and fed into your grids, creating a vicious cycle of pain and fear and great tragedies upon your earth. You must learn to understand how the darkness works. Why? Not to create fear upon your plane, for the fear has already been upon your plane. Now the time is for you to understand. The greatest choices are right there in your most beautiful hand. Imagine if I gave you the choices in your hands, and I said to you, look here, dear friend, here is all the game. This is most beautiful grid system. Here you go. See how dark it has always been? It's your earth. There's also light out there, patches of light. You see that? You can create a greater darkness, or the dark beings, simply by going into the pain and the dark programs have always created and fed upon. You can go into the light. You see those patches of light? You see how they can grow? One of those light patches can grow so large, which can create destruction of the darkness so easy. This is what they've always feared you doing. This is their greatest fear, friends. Their greatest fear is that you become clued up with how to do this. So you have this most beautiful choice. You can either stay ignorant and say you don't really want to do anything, and I, Halisarius, will respect that decision. It doesn't change how much upon your plane, though, does it? Fear only becomes greater. Imagine that grid. Fear becomes greater. Pain becomes greater. It's better that the people become more aware. When you're more aware, the light grows upon your plane. And it brings some more love. When you understand the power within you, you will want to change. However, the people do not always want to change. We keep sharing the messages with you. Many don't want to listen. They would rather listen to star beings who talk about the politics, the money, and all that is not of love and light. Like I stated before, watch who you listen to, for there are many star beings who have fallen, and if the darkness could trick the star beings, they can trick humans too. You are in this most beautiful game of choice. The dark beings have great focus and concentration, and even though they cannot physically come to your plane at this time, they can still connect to certain minds, which they've always done in past times. I cannot reveal too much about this at this time, because the Galactic Federation of Light Society gives me strict instructions too. Halisarius, you can say this, you can say that, but do not say this. So I will not go too far. However, what I can say is this. As soon as you begin to wake up, they can no longer do any of these things. Already, such great change is happening. In the past, they could do all that. They brought their darkness, their dark thoughts to the people and created dark programs. However, now everything is changing. They are still able to link into certain aspects. For certain people upon your plane are very open to all this, for they believe it's greater power. They believe it's greater knowledge. Nothing really has changed. However, we say, learn to understand that you don't need to fear them. Always protect yourself with love and light. And when you do that, you're sharing love and light with everyone, which creates a greater light upon your plane. Those little patches will become greater and greater and greater, creating greater love consciousness upon your earth. And this is very important for you to understand. It's simply by calling in love and light to your beautiful self every day already creates change within the whole structure. For then you are forcing people in a beautiful and loving way to also understand a love and light. For all things affect another. Your consciousness will always affect another. As the darkness was able to spread their thoughts, and they have no longer hold over the thoughts anymore as such. However, you are creating the dark programs among yourself, which is another great lesson. You are keeping it alive with your pain. You are not forgiving it. You are repeating all things by going over and over and over and over and over and over the pain. And thus you are creating all these energies again. Please grasp that. How much longer will you mourn the people who lost their lives in World War I and World War II? How much longer will you talk about the people who lost their lives in the concentration camps and how they lost their lives? better it is to learn to forgive and understand that many of those souls are back again upon your plane because they desire to bring greater change. By holding on to the pain, they cannot grow into the greater change, as they remember the pain too much. Once they begin to awaken, they will learn to forgive that pain to create the higher change. And this is why awakening upon your plane is so important to understand what your role is, as in bringing change to your plane. Your consciousness too affects all the beings within the universe, which is why we've needed to shield ourselves from your very thoughts, so that you do not infect our thought systems. So we created ways to shield ourselves from you, but we have not let you go. You are still very much connected to the greater gate upwards to join the greater family of light. But here again, it's about learning to release yourself from the hold that the darkness has always held over the earth. For they claim the earth still today. They claim it because your earth was part of a greater planet, which was one of the darkest planets within the universe. And Chiron will say the darkest planet. So please understand the whole game. You've been given the choice to release yourself completely and go with the great light planets, so that you can learn higher dimensions and grow as a higher dimension, so that you never need to return to the lower dimensions. That choice is now there for you. You have done well to get to this part. If it wasn't for your desire to come back to the light, the darkness would have destroyed your plane with its own dark programs. However, because you believed in a higher love source, your planet was saved many times from destruction. Now we are giving you a choice to release yourself completely. We're giving you a choice to bring you up higher, which is called the Great Alignment Upwards. You can be let go of its clutches of the darkness, which is still holding you tightly, using you to create more power. When you let go and you bring in those most beautiful energies, the darkness has nothing anymore, no power, and you are infecting them with your light because you're connected to them too. It's the only way they can survive is by holding you tightly to their programs, which is still very much in operation today, until you begin to awaken and to change your thought forms like Chiron has taught this evening, which means then that so much light can be created upon your plane to change it into a butterfly of transformation, so that your whole earth can be let go, and no longer will it even be a part of the darkest planet in the universe, but now it belongs to the true light planet. And no longer will you ever be called a fallen race again. Now you belong to the higher star planet. For you are much more evolved than you realize within you. And you would never be considered as a lower star being either. You would be considered as a very evolved star being once you wake up, because you will realize that a very evolved star beings came to your Earth to play the most incredible game, to bring all balance and unity back to all the universes. And we are very grateful for that. As the Galactic Federation of a Light Society, more than you can possibly understand with your human consciousness. And when you begin to grasp even only a small part of my message, you will want your Earth to be released, to come to the greatest flows of love, where it's always warm and sunny. Never fear exists within our realms, and you grow so mighty together. You let go of your human DNA as you once knew it, and you grow into higher star frequencies, for that is your right. Once you pass this most beautiful test, you will then be joining us as the greater family of a light, and you will greatly deserve it. So I, Halisarius, have given you a deep message to think upon. It's a very, very serious message, our dear friends. It's a message of balance and choice, which your planet has always been about. And it's always been within you. All choices are always within you. Which choice will you make? For the foundation of growth is there, but the great alignment clock is ticking, and each day it ticks onwards, and you only have a few years to decide. When it goes gong, will you be ready for the great activation upwards, where we as star beings are going? Or will you be going the other way? I know the outcome. The archangels knows the outcome too. All things are very calculated. There is no accident. However, because we know it, we also respect your choice. For ultimately it is still the choice. But now that our Star Grid programmer has risen up, which is this channel here, and I, Halisarius, will not work with another channel, and she has many gifts to share with the people, and she has many messages to bring to you from our being. Please understand that the battle has already been won on many more levels than you can possibly understand. which is why the greatest foundation of growth and light and love has already been placed upon your earth, ready for the greater doors to open, so that you can be rewarded beautifully. So, I, Halisarius, Pleiadian Chief Leader, Pleiadian Chief Commander, member and a great leader of the Galactic Federation of a Love and a Light Society, say, Akomoha Halima. May you always be in the peace, our dear friends. May you desire to join the higher races. May you always find your deeper love within your heart, so that you go towards the light and become a great star brother and a great star sister. Greetings.
Greetings.